Greetings, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel and thank you for logging on. Today, as we continue our journey through the Glashutte Original 2018 collection, we discuss one of the most imposing and imaginative timepieces in the range. This is the PanoMatic Counter XL. XL in name and XL in form. It's a sensational combination of manufacturer movement flyback chronograph and a brilliant count-up, count-down sports ticker that allows you to tally any interval or cycle. Now, it could be used to count absolutely anything you wish. It's that kind of system. Flexible and fashionable, the watch is handsomely balanced, including on the wrist. Let's get a quick sense of the timepiece on actual human anatomy. Though a 44mm stainless steel case, the watch is nicely constrained across the wrist. My wrist is only 16 centimeters in circumference, and so it's actually on the smaller end of male wrist sizes. But because this watch is only 51mm lug-to-lug, and you can see how tightly downturned and short those lugs are, this watch would wear well on a wrist as small as 14.5 centimeters circumference. It's also thoughtfully shaped with a sloped case flank and conical bezel that allows it to slide underneath a jacket cuff. It could be a dress jacket, it could be a sports jacket or a blazer, but this watch is designed to work well with real-world male wrist sizes and real-world male attire. Geo understanding that you can build a bigger watch, but you can't build a bigger client. Smart about the way the strap interacts with the case. If you look, the timepiece has been drilled close to the case. The lugs are drilled close to the case. And normally this would mean that the strap impinges against the side of the case and can't move all the way down. But you can see I can pull the case and strap essentially 90 degrees to each other because there is a brilliant small kerf or indentation adjacent to the strap on each side, and that small recess is designed and molded into the case so the strap has a full range of motion. That's brilliant, and that's just the strap. Speaking of which, large rectangular scale alligator leather, black with a monotone stitch, and a sheer side that allows you to see the layers of construction, supple calfskin on the underside, and a remarkably deluxe clasp. First, note the finish, a combination of satin and polish externally. It's a twin trigger system, so you must depress not one but both triggers to release the clasp. That's always the finest and most secure locking system for any clasp. Clamshells are cheap, friction is dangerous. This watch uses twin triggers, no compromise. It also uses a double fold architecture, so it doesn't have the one big up and over fold of a single fold that can pinch smaller wrists. And if you note the shape of the clasp on the underside, it's curved to match the arc of the underside of the wrist. So it's not just nicely made and robust, it's also comfortable. And that goes for the case too. As you can see, the lugs are short and tightly downturned, and that's how the watch manages to fit a smaller wrist. The dial of the timepiece, a matte black with several different focal planes. Note the elevated chronograph seconds register that allows a tight cluster of chronograph registers at the top of the dial. You have chronograph minutes, chronograph seconds, and then you actually have a sub-seconds dial that is underneath the superimposed seconds display and nicely balanced from 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock. On the 9 o'clock side you have the counter display, and on the 3 o'clock side you have the date display. Also note all applique indices, all diamond polished and hand applied indices, and quarter Arabics for the hours and minutes at 6 o'clock. Also note the watch is loomed. There will be a loom shot. The watch is also self-explanatory. A flyback chronograph, you press the flyback trigger at what would conventionally be 2 o'clock on the case, and you can start and you can stop the chronograph using the trigger at what would conventionally be 4 o'clock. So just remember, not only is it an inverted chronograph, but it's a flyback, so you can time two intervals that happen in rapid succession. For instance, maybe one of your runners passes the start of a track, and then when he comes around again after you note the time, you reset and restart. This is an excellent sports application because it exists in tandem with the counter system, which is quite brilliant. First, you have the ability to count up, you have the ability to count down, and you can toggle back and forth and even reset all at once. Let me demonstrate how that works. Although it's part of the movement, it operates independently from the rest of the caliber. So you have the ability to toggle down if you want to count down from a number, or if you wish to count up, you can start at 0 and count up. It's a brilliant system, and it'll save you the better part of $1 million on a Richard Mille RM70. Geo does it in steel, and Geo does it for real, in a watch you can actually own and wear, because this timepiece is thoughtfully executed on both sides. We saw the counter system, and I should note the presence of a panorama datum, or a large date, a signature of Geo, and the case back, like I said, no nonsense. Unlike a conventional dress watch, water-resistant to 5 ATM rather than 2 or 3, automatic winding with a 42-hour power reserve, this is manufacturer movement 96-01, a combination of a column wheel lateral clutch chronograph with flyback capability and a very precise timekeeper adjusted in 5 positions. Remember, that is the chronometer standard, 5 positions, so this watch adhering to a heady standard. Now, you'll also appreciate the fact that the watch is beautifully decorated. It does feature stop seconds or hacking seconds, and there is a pusher adjuster on the side to toggle the date mechanism. Now, let me show you how the flyback operates. You can see the column wheel interacting with its levers and horns. The system is designed to offer positive tactile and audible sensations. Chronographs with column wheels are more expensive to build and tune, which is why many manufacturers use a cam-based system. Geo cutting absolutely no corners here. Also appreciate the presence of not one but 2 different varieties of screws. You see screws that are blued, and these are the real fired oxidized blued screws, not the dyed kind. You'll also appreciate the presence of polished screws, the blued screws and the polished screws, featuring 2 separate arts, as the polished screws feature what's known as polynoir or black polish, the highest optical standard of finish. You'll also note the presence of a black polished swan's neck fine adjustment mechanism on the balance being at 28,800 vibrations per hour, and a handsome and fully jeweled lateral clutch. This is again where many brands will cut corners using bushings rather than pivot jewels in the lateral clutch. Here, Glashutte Original cutting absolutely no corners and finishing it all off with a set of exquisite Glashutte stripes across the bridges and rotor, a tight engine-turned micro perlage across the base plate, and a hand-engraved half bridge for the balance itself, being hand-engraved, that is freehand engraved, not guilloche. No 2 are exactly alike, rendering this watch, in one sense, something of a piece unique. A handsome, versatile, and inventive complication. You can see this watch and learn more about the entire Glashutte Original collection on our website, govbergwatches.com. Glashutte Original PanoMatic Counter XL, fully loomed hours and minutes for easy nighttime reading.